welcome back to Cigar Time, your ever-so-friendly show all about premium cigars. And I have an announcement to make. This will be one of my last shows.
No!
Why?
Well, I'm getting old.
So am I.
So are the rest
Where
of
so are
us.
we?
You're only as old as you are.
Boy, that was a very keen observation.
That's really deep.
I knew he was a deep thinker and a lot of intelligence. Yeah, I plan on saying goodbye to the show in about 7 years. So you're stuck with me at least
For another 7 years?
But then I'm
This is our
gone.
8th year.
One way or the other, I'm gone. Hope it's not the Grim Reaper. Well, welcome back anyway. Just a little humor to start the show.
Very little.
Yeah, I know. Don't get carried away with praise.
Yeah, bring Mike in for jokes, please.
Yeah. Comic relief. So, what have we been doing all week? I know we've been working hard ordering product, filling up the
Yeah.
stores.
And we've been busy selling it.
I knew there was a trick to it.
Yeah. There you go.
So that's why, as fast as we bring this stuff in, it goes back out again.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Seems
Sounds like
our
we're always
shelves are
sitting here
empty.
buying stuff.
Seems that
We
way.
never catch a break.
It kind of does. I see the inventory go up and then good
And then
week
it goes
down.
Wow. Are we going to smoke or are we just going to
Yes.
look at them? Oh, okay.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, I kind of felt your hot breath and you're shaking hands. Now, what are we smoking today?
Today we're smoking the Plasencia 149, how do you say it? Cosecha?
Cosecha.
Cosecha.
Yeah.
You were close.
I wasn't.
Cosecha
Jose
means
Fonseca.
Cosecha means crop, and since Plasencia is more or less one of the
farmer.
oldest
Yeah.
and absolutely the biggest commercial grower of cigar tobacco, and has been for a very long time. Well, this line, the Cosecha line, is specific crop years.
Right. This one was grown in 2014.
Oh, I thought it was 149. It'd be
That's
really
the
old.
149th.
It's the 149th crop.
Yeah.
So,
And
There's
there's
the 146, the 146 crop?
yes.
Well, what a great thought. Yes, indeed. And I would imagine there'll be higher numbers to come as time goes
Yeah.
by.
I hope to see 175.
Me
Right?
too.
Well, plus you said they make cigars for a lot of other companies too.
I sure do.
And I explain that to people, then they ask me, well, what? I'm like, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know who they are.
Does anybody? Do you guys?
Lots of people.
Know? I know lots,
Too
but
many to name.
And they
All right, name 3.
well, Rocky.
Well, that's the only one I can come
Okay.
up with.
I believe they make some stuff for others.
Yeah, they make a lot of stuff. for
Yeah,
others.
it's others. Let's see. I'm trying to think of
Majors.
large manufacturers that instead of small companies that people may not have heard of.
Fuente, they make Fuente stuff.
No.
I don't think so. No. I don't think so.
But they've had their own cigar. They used to have
Years ago.
years ago, and it was called Plasencia.
Right.
And it was
like a little
mostly
script.
sold through JR. Mostly.
And it wasn't, on the brick and mortar side, it wasn't a big seller.
No, not at
No.
all.
In fact, the general rule of thumb used to be, if they made it with their own name on it,
Yeah, it
nobody
wouldn't
would
sell.
buy it.
Yeah.
But if it was for somebody else, everybody would buy it.
Correct.
That's all changed since Nestor Jr. took over.
Right.
Well,
He's been blending much better cigar.
And how long have they hit the market with their own stuff? What was it like?
About
you know,
5 years.
Is it 5 years? I lose all track of time
Yeah.
anymore.
I know.
And wasn't the Alma Fuerte that funny shaped one the cigar of the year?
It was a tasty cigar, I know that.
I don't know if it was the cigar of the year, but it figured high on the list. They call it the Sixto.
The
You're
Sixto,
talking about
yeah.
the hexagonal.
Yeah.
No. I was.
Which
There
one are
was
you
one
talking
that was. It was fat, then it was like real like ovalish and thin, and then fat again. It was. We only had it for a short time. Regardless of the size, I think Alma Fuerte was at least it was in the top 5, I believe.
That
I thought it was the top cigar.
I guess it's possible. I don't know. I think your phone is ringing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want to stop the Instagram live.
Plasencia, for a lot of the boutique manufactures a lot of their goods. I mean, you can almost go up and down the block with boutique names, and I think you'll find a lot of Plasencia fingerprints on a lot of them. They may not make every cigar in the line,
Right.
but they make quite a few of them.
And aside from their manufacturing, a visit to their leaf operations is mind-blowing. I mean, you think of Palomas, of tobacco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you think that a Polone is about 5 feet tall and about 5 feet wide and about 20 feet long,
Not theirs.
about 2,500 pounds.
Yeah.
In a barn, in one fermentation barn, they will have about 300 Pilones.
How big is the
And
barn?
they have dozens of barns, all
Holy
filled
cow.
with. It is
How long-
staggering.
That's like football fields.
Yeah. They're
300, you said?
Yeah, they're enormous. And times that I've been there, I've traveled. The guy passed away, unfortunately, but there was a Dutch guy who was in charge of the fermentation operation, and he would walk around with this giant
Temperature
thermometer
gauge, yeah.
and stab it into the Pilones, one after the other, and he had notes on humidity levels every day. And Nestor would come out periodically and look through these notes and decide when something was ready to use for something.
Huh.
Really cool.
We're actually supposed to meet.
Try keeping track of all that.
We're supposed to meet. We're going to meet Nestor, aren't we? Or
Yeah.
maybe we already have by the time the show airs. but-
Yeah. Possible.
Actually, this show airs the 6th, so we haven't been there yet.
All right. So we're going to meet Nestor.
Yeah.
Nestor
Or-
Senior or Nestor
I don't know if it's
Junior
Nestor
or both?
Junior or
I'm
Senior.
sure it's Junior.
I
Probably
would
Junior.
imagine.
Nestor
Nestor
probably-
Senior's getting a little.
Yeah, I think it's Junior. Junior's the one really running things right
So last year we smoked this cigar. This is a fairly new cigar.
now. Yeah.
This came out this.
Scott and I smoked this last year at the show. It was actually the
Oh,
first
that's right.
booth we went to last year was this one, and this was the best cigar of the show last year.
That was this cigar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that being the first booth, and
yeah,
What do these retail for?
12 something.
Yeah, this is the reasonable line.
Yeah, this is the this is the low.
Yeah.
end.
well, there's one.
Not
There's
low
the
end.
original that's like $9 or $10.
Yeah.
Which I think is a fantastic cigar.
It's also a really good cigar
As
that has. It's actually a name change. It's not so much a recent cigar. It was actually theirs, and they called it Reserva Organica.
Right,
It was
right,
the
right.
first certified organic
Organic.
cigar, and nobody cared. So
So
they
nobody
changed
bought it.
the name to Reserva Original, and now people love it.
I think that's the same philosophy that I hear people talking about setting up to use bitcoins to buy
Yeah.
cigars. I think that'll go over just about as good as organic cigars.
Sure.
Well, even as like Plasencia is not an inexpensive line, but we have no problem selling
Selling
it.
it, no.
Yeah, but it's quality.
It's
I mean, the quality stands out.
absolutely.
I mean,
The
they
higher
have,
end
Well, you're right, but there's quality, and then there's like a good cigar as far as a lot of people liking it. Like there's some cigars that are high quality that I don't like, but
I know one thing: their higher end cigars, more expensive cigars, are world beaters.
yeah.
the-
And
They're over
they don't
20
take a
bucks.
back seat to anybody.
the hexagon shaped ones are
The whole
fantastic.
Alma series.
Yeah.
The Alma Fuerte, the Alma Fuego, the Alma de Campo, all of them I think are fantastic.
Absolutely.
That one you and I had when we were
the
stuck
Tornado.
here at the Tornado was one of the best cigars ever.
Yeah.
It was
I
really
like that.
good.
Fantastic.
But it's $20-some.
Yes, it's not for everybody, but there are a lot of cigars out there nowadays, 20, 30, in some cases $40.
That's
that
true.
I don't find anywhere near as good.
Did you say what the blend on was? This was. Don't
Oh,
say it yet.
Okay, no, we have not said yet.
It has tobacco.
Do you know the blend?
I do not.
No. Oh, really?
I don't
what
know
do
the
you-
blend
okay.
of the cigar.
Oh, okay. What's it? I didn't know it until they just told me. But what's it remind you of? It's not a quiz. It's just when I tell you the blend, it surprised me that that's what it was.
Me too. Well, I've known this, but
Almost like an old Punch or Hoyo, but like the old
I don't
ones.
think it's no.
what's the
I
blend
don't
of the
think it's-
Punch or the Hoya?
I don't think it's
Mostly
as strong.
Honduran tobacco.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
used to be a real powerhouse. I don't think this is as strong-bodied as
No.
No, but it's got that
Yeah.
Honduran character to it.
it does.
It is.
does.
It's a Honduran Puro.
Well, okay.
Which
you
is
have it.
surprises me
Which is
because,
unusual.
yeah, I don't like Honduran tobacco, but this cigar is fantastic. I've had a bunch of these. These are really
They
good.
must have done something like I don't know, triple fermented the wrapper or something. Because I would.
Do we know what breed the wrapper is? Other than that, it's from Honduras.
Yeah.
Nah, you're getting above
They're
my pay
from-
grade. Way above my knowledge level.
There's some for, I think it's Jalapa.
No,
No.
that's Nicaragua.
That's Nicaragua. Then it's Jamastran.
Amistron?
Yamastran. Whatever.
Don
Ometepe.
That's Nicaragua.
That's,
Is it? Why do I think you think? I don't know. And there's
The
one,
Armstrong
what's
is
the one that
mostly
starts with
tied
an
up
O?
by the Aroa family.
O in it's a city that starts with an O in Honduras.
Oshkosh.
Oshkosh, yeah, Honduras, yeah.
I forget exactly what it is. You guys are gonna make me look it up.
Were you there?
Olanche?
I was not there.
You talking
Olanche,
about
yes,
Olanche?
yes. That's where it's from.
They mostly grow wrapper there.
Yes, that's what it is. The wrapper. So.
Yeah, I was. The reason I said it like that is I was very surprised that it was a Honduran Puro. Paul, it doesn't taste Honduran to me, but you nailed it.
Well, I got to tell you, if I was going to make a prediction, not knowing the breed of the wrapper, my prediction is he decided to use the Viso priming instead of a normal wrapper priming. Viso priming is right under the Lajero. It's not as ugly as Lajero, but it's almost as full-bodied as Lajero, and this has that kind of taste to it, from the wrapper at least.
Would you, in your opinion, call this full body or the upper range of medium?
I would say the upper range of medium, but I suspect the nicotine count is actually
Higher,
very high.
I agree.
Really?
Oh, speaking of nicotine count,
I think
you know where I'm going with this, right?
I think, but go ahead.
Well, there's a movement afoot to try to basically take the nicotine out of anything that's combustible and you stick in your mouth and inhale smoke and blow it out.
I heard it was.
Cigarettes.
What I heard just
it originally
cigarettes.
started, but read this morning's announcement.
I didn't read it. Any of it. Somebody was
All tobacco products.
great. Well,
How do you take nicotine out of a cigar?
I mean, in cigarettes, they add extra nicotine,
Ah.
so taking that out is easy.
Easy, yeah. There's no added
There's
nicotine.
nothing added here, so what do you take out?
talk about trying
That
to kill
might
an
be
industry.
the saving grace. There's nothing really you can take out.
Nope.
Okay, it's from Olancho, Yamastran, and Tolango.
Tawanga.
Tolanga.
Okay.
Looks like I know.
I wonder if that's. I'll have to go in and read that. So I wonder if it sounds like it's something that they were focusing on vape because then you can because that's the nicotine is added. But yeah, in the brilliance of our government, they just say, just add it all.
I think we don't need to worry about it for a long time, to be honest.
I hope so.
Let me ask you a question.
not
I
like
thought the
caffeine.
Aroa family controlled most of the Amistran.
Yes, they do.
So they must be trading.
They do trading, but also Nestor grows some
Right.
in Jamastran.
Oh, okay. Okay, I wasn't aware.
Not on the scale that the Iroa family
Yeah,
does.
I kind of assumed that.
I
Can we
was
give it our
there.
first opinion?
I'm getting a like a dark chocolate taste.
Okay. Good.
You getting it too?
Yeah, that's a flavor I predominantly get when I know.
Usually, when we're,
I was thinking about this yesterday about the flavors we get from cigars, and I'm wondering like if obviously everybody's palate is different, but like do you tend to taste certain flavors more than others just because of your palate? Like there's certain things. You know what it was? I was having something that was kind of, it was an iced tea that had like a floral flavor to it.
Oh, that's going to influence things.
Right, but I got to thinking about it. I was like, I've heard cigars described as floral, but I've never gotten any floral from tobacco. So I'm wondering, maybe the way our palates
Isn't
are.
tobacco floral by nature?
Well, yeah, yeah,
But as a flavor,
Yeah, yeah.
but as a flavor. But I do get I get pepper, I get cocoa, coffee, new car smell, stuff like that. Anyway, it was
bark.
just
Don't
something
forget
I was
bark.
thinking about. Maybe there's certain flavors that that certain people just don't get, and some people don't get any. They just like ant. God bless them.
floral tends to be present in lighter-bodied cigars. A full-bodied cigar, you won't pick up the floral notes.
That's overcome.
They might be there, but you won't get them.
you can smell it when you smell the foot, like
Yeah.
Dominican cigars. You
I
can
try
eat the
not to
floral,
smell feet if I can help it.
the foot of the cigar. You do it all the time. I see you
Yeah,
doing
I
it
smell
constantly.
people. Oh, you mean the foot?
Constantly
No, I'm
cigar.
talking about people's feet.
No, the
Can you
cigar.
smell
imagine
those.
the millions of people, worldwide obviously, that have lost their sense of taste because of COVID? Some people never got it back.
Yeah,
That's
that's true.
I mean, I can't even imagine
Well,
living.
we'll probably lose weight.
I would probably hang myself
Yeah.
if I permanently lost my sense of
Wow.
taste. What would I be able to? I couldn't do anything that I like to do.
Well, okay, I'm not going to go beyond that.
I wonder if it's interesting. Would we still smoke cigars if I couldn't?
If you couldn't taste them,
No, why
why
would-
bother?
As long as I have my olfactory senses, I could
Habitual.
smell it.
Hey, you know what? If you can smell it, I wonder if the flavor gets enhanced if you can't use your tongue, but you can use
Yeah,
your
maybe.
olfactory.
Yeah.
I don't know if the process by which COVID eliminates your sense of taste also affects your sense
It
of
does.
smell.
It does. But
Oh, that's yeah.
but
you're
sometimes you can get one back. We have a state trooper down in one of our Florida stores that lost them both, and I think he got his sense of taste back, but not
You're not gonna
necessarily
lose
smell.
2 of your 5 senses. That would
not?
be horrible.
right. Sure, but you can go blind and lose your hearing. So
That's true.
And mechanically speaking, smell and taste are actually the same
The
thing.
same, yeah.
You would think.
Essentially, yeah.
I guess the same
You know,
neurons in your brain too.
mechanically in the way that you have receptors that pick stuff
Yeah,
up and
yeah.
Well,
what
you
they are and how they work.
I'm guessing it's not. That's not affected, but it's I guess not the things that pick up the flavors, but what recognizes in your brain is probably what gets affected.
I would think so.
The neurons or synapses aren't.
We never got
synapsing.
your original review.
Well, the thing
Okay,
that
I
jumps
never
out
jumped.
to me more than anything is a raisiny taste.
Raised.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And
I get a little of that now that
intensely
you,
so.
yeah, suggestions, power of suggestion.
Oh,
What about you?
it's getting a little creamier,
Mm-hmm.
and definitely that's what got me on that tangent with the dark chocolate,
Mm-hmm.
which got me on the thinking of, like I always that's my go-to flavor, and I got to thinking, I wonder if that's just because that's what my palate recognizes.
I'm getting an earthiness and,
Now.
and cedar.
After the initial power,
Yeah.
there's cream.
Yeah,
and
very
earth.
creamy. It's very
Well,
creamy.
That's going to be typical of Honduran tobacco.
Yep. So, speaking about enhancing flavors, you know how people use MSG in food
Yeah.
to
Hope not.
Where do you go about buying MSG?
Oh, you can buy,
buy it in
MSG.
any supermarket.
Yeah,
Yeah.
MSG is just a,
They used to. The brand name used to be Accent.
which is MSG,
Yeah.
monosodium glutamate.
And the whole concept is it enhances your ability to taste flavors.
Yeah,
So adding it
like
to
a super
food-
salt.
Yeah, it intensifies whatever flavors are there. And there is actually a tobacco that serves the same purpose in blending the cigar. And it has become sort of a catchphrase, but it's been around since long before it was a catchphrase. And that's the tobacco called Medio Tiempo, which, interestingly enough, is neither medio nor tiempo. I mean, that
What's the
means
translation?
midterm. And it's not from the middle of the plant, and it's not the middle of the harvest. It's not the middle of anything.
Middle of the maybe it comes sprouts in the middle of the growing.
No, it's when the plant is almost mature that it pops out.
Huh.
So Medio Tiempo is, it's 2 leaves that are very small that pop out at the very top of the plant, usually after they cut the flower off.
Okay.
So it's that first burst of new energy that the plant gets when there's no flower to absorb all of that. They tend to be very small, and only about 1 in 10 plants actually produce these 2 leaves. And there are only 2. There's no extras. There's no multiple pairs. They are way stronger than even Ligero, but they have this effect, if you use it in a blend, of dramatically enhancing whatever flavors are already there. So it, you wouldn't want to smoke a cigar made out of Medio Tiempo exclusively or even heavily. It would be like saying, well, I like sweet things, let me eat some sugar. Or I like spice, let me chew on some red pepper flakes. You would never do that.
No, of course not.
I just got to stop doing that then.
I guess so. Especially the sugar.
Tell me you chew on red pepper flakes. Maybe if it pops up on your pizza.
When he played baseball. So
Yeah, tobacco, yeah.
Yeah, boy, he would spit a lot then.
You know, the interesting thing about MSG, about 50 or 60 years ago, every single, that I could think of, Chinese restaurant used MSG
Yeah.
like there was no tomorrow. And then maybe, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago, they did a 180. And they started advertising, we use no MSG.
Right.
You know why that was? This is a really interesting
Yeah, I
thing.
figure you'd know something about it.
There was a lot of scientific dialogue about the fact that it gives people headaches and makes their heart beat too fast. And everybody jumped on that.
Yeah.
And people started promoting the idea that they were MSG free.
Free, yeah.
And years later, the guy who published all these studies said he made the whole thing up.
You want to hear a funny story? I can relate to that. Because when I would eat a heavy dose of Chinese food, I would get pains in the top of my shoulder. And that wasn't psychosomatic. I was getting the pain. And the further I went from the meal, the pain subsided.
It was the cat.
Probably. A general child cat.
Yeah, there you go.
I find it interesting that the media tiempo sprouts at the end of the growing, but it doesn't get as much nutrition, but it's fuller bodied. So
It
I
gets
wonder.
more nutrition because it is the first thing to grow after they cut the flower.
Yeah.
When you cut the flower, immediately the plant starts sending more
okay.
energy
Okay.
up through the stalk into the leaves, except sometimes it pops these two leaves out.
Well, that's what, I guess that's what I was wondering is maybe I wonder if they're there in bud form or some microscopic level, and they're getting and then that forces the.
I don't think they could. If that was the case, they could force it, and everybody in the tobacco industry says you can't force it. They pop up when they pop up. There are people who are dubious as to whether it exists at all
Yes.
within the industry.
I was actually just getting ready to say. I thought I read that some people are like, let's get out of here. There's no such thing. It's just a marketing thing.
But it's not, and in fact, the first people to make extensive use of Medio Tiempo didn't promote it at all. It was the original Partagas Black.
Really?
Partagas Black was the first cigar to make extensive use of Medio Tiempo, and they didn't, General didn't say anything about it. Just to show you how big of a turnaround there is, now La Gloria Cubana
Has a model.
has a line that they call Medio Tiempo because they use that.
That's funny because I never really thought the Partagas Black was a particularly full or strong cigar.
Yeah, it is.
It is, yeah.
I
Yeah.
always thought it was medium, if anything.
That's a full body
And
cigar.
and that was also a good example of using it to enhance flavors that were already there.
It's a good cigar.
Oh, I gotta go smoke Partagas Black.
So what
good cigar.
put
Haven't had one
Medio
in a while.
Tiempo kind of on the map, brought it to people's attention, was in 2010 when they created the Cohiba Bejique in Cuba.
Yes.
They took the regular Cohiba blend and added a bunch of Medio Tiempo to it, and that's what made it a Bejique. That's also what made it a lot more expensive. Because there are so few of those leaves, and you really have to, you'll pardon my French, ferment the crap out of it before you use it. And it's another interesting quality
I
of
see a
the leaf.
pilon of that.
It would, it
So
can
about as big as this
sustain a
table.
much higher fermentation temperature than regular tobacco. So you ferment it long, and you ferment it really hot.
Really?
What a smell.
Yeah, it's my favorite smell in
Yeah, I
the world is
figured that,
fermenting
yeah.
tobacco.
Yeah.
I had we need to do this quickly. And I don't think in all the years, I'm not sure we ever covered this. What is the difference between Honduras, the Dominican, and Nicaragua, and you'd even throw Cuba into the mix?
They're different countries.
How many years did you go to school?
I think they speak slightly different
What's it?
languages.
No. In the timing of the
You're ready for
planning,
Tobacconist University.
because I know there are differences between the countries. Can you
Yeah.
speak to that
Well,
briefly?
it's been a while, but yes, in Nicaragua and Honduras, they tend to do the planting in early fall, and they harvest right after the first of the year, like January, February.
Right.
In the Dominican Republic, they plant a little later,
Right.
and they harvest a little later. And then if you go to a place like Ecuador, a lot of the companies that grow in Ecuador,
Right.
because of the location and the climate, they'll grow 2 or 3 times a year.
Yeah.
So they're basically always planting and harvesting.
Cuba tried that years and years ago, and
Didn't work for
it
them.
was dismal failure. They just raped the soil, and it was just terrible.
And they've been paying a price for that ever since.
Speaking of prices, anybody have sticker shock with the new Cuban cigar prices?
I've heard it. They're
It's going to
like
put
a box of Ramon Lowe's Special Select used to be like 175, and now
Not
it's like
anymore.
350 or
Yeah.
something. That's
and
crazy.
the problem is it's going to put pressure on inventories here. A lot of the
Yes.
American distributors and manufacturers are going to be shipping to Europe
Yeah.
and Asia and
some
Africa.
are
That's why
already
there's-
talking
Funny,
about
yeah, they're
doing
already
that.
doing
a
that.
friend
Yeah.
of mine is in France, and he sent me a photo of a humidor in France,
Yeah.
and of 50 facings, I
Yeah.
think 4 or 5 were Cuban.
Which is
everything
And that's
else.
exactly what I thought.
because my late friend, who France was in his territory, you know, France is very strict. It's all monopoly controlled by the state. You know, you can't export cigars or anything. So for them to open up to non-Cubans is saying a lot. All right, I think we should go around and put our final review and final number on it. Scott, why don't you kick it off?
It's got, I picked up a little bit of spice later on in the cigar, which is interesting.
Baking spice.
Yeah.
More like nutmeg than, say, pepper.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, and it still has that creaminess and that the dark chocolate that Rob mentioned. This is a 9.5. I love this cigar.
What did you say the price was again?
It's like
12,
12,
13.
12, 13.
So it's a little beyond the sweet spot, but not that beyond.
No.
Not for the quality cigar.
No.
Rob?
I'm continuing to get the chocolate taste, the earthiness, and I'm getting a little bit of cedar.
I love the way you say chocolate.
Chocolate.
I say chocolate.
Oh, Scott, you didn't put a number on it.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, I'm
You put
sorry.
nine.
Yeah, sorry.
I really like the cigar. Like I said, it was my favorite cigar last year of the show. I'd probably give it a 9.25. I really like this cigar a lot.
Paul?
I found that the power ran away, and what's left is cream, earth, and general goodness.
General goodness.
I give it a 9.25 also. I think this is a fantastic smoke, and it just keeps getting creamier and creamier.
Yep.
Well, you can't beat it. This is an excellent cigar, well worth the price, which, you know, it's hard for me to say, and should be part of your smoking rotation.
Definitely.
So I want to remind everybody.
What's your number?
Huh?
What's your number?
Oh, I was thinking that over. I'll go with the 9.25. It's hard to beat.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, I rarely rate stuff higher than you guys.
Yeah.
But you didn't.
So don't forget, stay tuned for
said
Cigar Outlet Show coming right up after this show. We want to thank everybody for tuning in all these years. I think we're getting close to 9 or 10 years now.
9.
And smoke often and enjoy.
Life's too
Ciao
short.
for
Bye
now,
for now.
everybody.